nature gives birth to such creatures, whose existence is difficult to believe, and despite the fact that on this channel probably 100 videos have already been released about they are not unusual animals anyway, and maybe one day, wild nature will cease to surprise us, but for sure not today. Let's start with one of the most incredible animals in the world that move underground. It's a predator, and it's literally floating in the sands of the Namibian desert now. He is looking for his victim. If you remember, then in the films Tremors or Dune were also underground creatures that moved in the sands in the yeasts of the earth. They were called Groboots. These creatures focused on vibrations produced by land animals, people, and then attacked their sacrifice from underground. So that's it. Funny that it really exists. The Groboot in Namibia hunts in the same way. He also focuses on the slightest vibrations, but fortunately, unlike cinematic hunts, only insects. Sometimes the animal is a dune shark or a shark. It eats deserts very voraciously. Unfortunate bugs and termites one after another. Others call this creation golden mole. His appearance is as strange as he is his lifestyle due to the covering on his eyes made of leather and fur. He is absolutely blind, but special bones are fixed in his ears. The slightest vibrations in the sand. Termites provide the mole with water and food if he catch 60 pieces per night. Ability moving in the sand also helps golden mole hide from predators at night. In the darkness of the coral sea, mysterious creatures appear. Real fish lanterns are a glow comes from bacteria that fill special organs under the orbital glands. Eye lanterns and Pisces activate glow of these bacteria for different purposes. For example, for illuminating the seabed. Be searching for food using such a convenient the tool can be easily bypassed like a flashlight. All competitors also looking for some liquid at the bottom of the sea, and also these flashlights are used to shoot down predators. Lights in the dark make it difficult to choose a specific victim well. What if the predator will still get close enough? Then the fish just turns off its lantern and instantly becomes invisible. Perfect survival strategy in the dark. Night falls in the Sonoran Desert, North America. At this time here, a dangerous world is awakening to life experience. Killer desert hairy scorpio is one of the largest species scorpions in America. Coming out nearby. Take a walk. New generation tarantula spiders, under the supervision of their Scorpio moms, are clearly interested in them. And what will happen next we'll never guess. The spider just passes over the scorpion and goes away, leaving his children behind. Food for this spider lover that the mother of this species of tarantula spiders can eat his children, just like there's now this Scorpio is eating spiders. No one can protect them on their own. Scorpio won't stop there. That's all for him. Little does he find the whole of one rodent. Cute animal, but only cute on the outside. He immediately attacks Scorpio. But what our Scorpio cares about this mouse? After all, it has a sting with deadly poison, and it immediately lets it into the body. Sorry for the rodent in head, and injecting a bunch of toxins into it. It would seem that the mouse is doomed to us teacher's death. But you see, and what is this rodent called? Scorpion mouse. Guess why it's like this? They named it firstly because she has full immunity of scorpions, and secondly, she loves to devour these very scorpions. So without thinking twice, the mouse attacks again. This Scorpio has no the slightest chance of survival. Scorpion mouse drags the unfortunate man into a hole on eating for your children. But this is according to us. The mouse doesn't have enough. She wants more. Nearby giant Scolopendra just killed and leaves a rodent of another species bag. Hopper. She likes mouse meat, and where I come from is more toxic than that desert Scorpio. But for Scorpio mouse, it's all just an empty phrase. She wants to eat, and once Scolopendra appeared in front of her kills mice, the mouse will eat it too. Scolopendra is desperately trying resist, inflicts many powerful blows, injects so many rodent poisons. How much can a scorpion mouse have? Complete immunity. And don't try for a while. No matter how much you worry about meeting her means death, no matter how poisonous you are with Scolopendra will be eaten without the rest. But wait, you clearly haven't yet underestimated this little devil. In addition to Scolopendra, he also begins devouring a killed centipede. Mouse is everything to him. Little after the meal, Scorpion's mouse starts howling as if she's some kind of wolf, although the vocans of her bloodthirstiness are of course farthest. Sound carries for several hectares, warning everyone that this is hers hunting grounds, And it's always better to do this. Don't approach a hungry monster. Australia has an unusual master survivalist who is armed with long needles, claws, and a huge tongue echidna, and she is a real storm of ants. This animal absorbs them in industrial scale. It would seem thanks to it the animal is invulnerable to needles. But in these fires often occur in places. What to do for the poor animal? Quite small, so it's difficult for him escape from the approaching elements, but sarcastically know what to do in such situations. She buries herself in the ground. All the insects and animals are growing, scattering in all directions, and huge the territory burns out. The earth remains devastated. What happened to our echidna? And actually echidnas can do nothing. Lower body temperature to survive. The fire spreading over them is a real master survival in them. Remaining from the ashes. But this everything is nonsense now. You will see something phenomenal. Transported to Southeast Asia, has dozens of volcanoes for millions of years. They forced the locals animals adapt to themselves, and this led to something incredible. It's just shocking. We're talking about these birds in front of you are Melanesian, bigger legs. They conduct extremely unusual for wildlife lifestyle of dozens of adults, everyday birds, gather together near the volcano as if overcome by some kind of madness. Deadly place everywhere. Volcanic ash and toxic newspapers are adapted to such conditions. They have learned to benefit from these destructive processes. Do you see what the point is? For the birds to have babies, you have to hatch eggs. It's very tedious occupation, but you have to sit through them like this. How high should the temperature of the eggs be? They shouldn't freeze. How to avoid hatching eggs at all? Now can you guess why they need volcanoes right next to volcanoes? Surface temperature approximate 1000 degrees Celsius, but there is many places ideal for eggs. Temperature and more legs are capable subtly feel the warmth. They distinguish temperature changes by half a degree. There are only a few Celsius around the volcano places where the temperature is exactly what it is. They need 33 degrees for these places. Goes bird fight in the warm ashes of the volcano, digs a hole and lays an egg there and bury, and everything from that moment on mother free as a bird, literally and figuratively, meaning she won't care anymore. The egg, the chick, will hatch on its own thanks to there will be warmth emanating from the volcano. Take care of yourself. In fact, before Nami is a real volcanic bird fantasy come to life in the real world. Incredible. Returning to Australia, on its lands, there is one very interesting predator prey exclusively on others' reptiles. Many of them escape. Almost everyone is trying to escape, run away as quickly as possible, but not golden-tailed gecko. When I was talking about interesting predator in these parts, one had in view of him with his miniature size and camouflage are almost nothing to him. Not scary except for the sun. He needs shade. You need at least a narrow slit, and he'll go there with easily climbed. However, Stripelialis is able to notice the smallest movement, and the snake sees this well. Gecko, she climbs up the grass to it was more convenient to attack the victim. Only the victim here is anyone, but definitely not this gecko when he sees it in front of him. Such dubious characters as this. The snake then begins to pull out its secret ace up Deacon's hole, releases jets of chemical weapons directly from its tail. Is actually liquid, not dangerous, but it's so sticky and so it smells bad that it scares anyone away, even the most bloodthirsty hunter. Having dealt with a snake, he gets to shelters on this channel. I already told you how termites build their huge 8-meter towers to provide the best ventilation and cooling. Are there animals that thought of using these are the qualities of termite houses in their purpose? This golden-shouldered parrot is one of the smartest birds in the Australian steppes. Are extreme here. It's hot, and now it's also dry here season, because the parrots created a nest right in the termite mound where it's always comfortable temperature and humidity. Brilliant chicks will soon be ready to fly out of the nest. However, there is danger in the air. Another step, fire. Dry grass may ignite very easily. Many plants here also contain flammable oils that intensify fire, destroys everything in its path. Animals' parents flee for their lives. While they fly away, there is a possibility, but the chicks are still, they can't fly away. They haven't learned. It's too late to fly in time now. There is no way out. The flames are engulfing from fires more than any other country. They sometimes carry over 1 billion animal lives in a year, but these are smart. The parrots thought of everything through the termite mounds, fire resistant and can easily withstand local fires with chicks inside. Nothing did not happen. The termites developed excellent strategy for survival in open spaces. They build real strength. About 5 years of labor of several. It takes generations to build a termite mound grown to full size. This is a triumph collective engineering art in their clay castles. They reliably protected from natural disasters. In time of the steppe fire temperature may reach 800 degrees Celsius, but termite mounds provide so much good protection. What, for example, in the open spaces Brazilian savanna, where also often fires happen. Termites are the most numerous species among animals. In front of you, there is a fly called an hoverfly. She recently mated, and now flies to explore the area. It turns out logical because okay, not yet very much, but now you will understand everything. So the fly's instinct makes it search best resource nest. She flies up to him and finds Cyclabo, pushes it into the right place, nest entrance, and lays eggs. As if not, the ants even tried to push her out. The hoverfly does not move completely. She's focused on laying eggs, puts away about 10 pieces at a time. Now they are all foundlings in an ant's nest. What will happen next? After a week, hoverfly larvae begin to hatch, and almost simultaneously after this, larvae immediately begin to crawl inside the nest to find something edible. But isn't this suicide? No, the ants will destroy them right away. How come? These weak larvae survive the anthill. They have everything thought out. 3 months have passed. The hoverflies have changed noticeably. Their soft, the bodies have become hard. This allows them hold off the ants' attacks. They completely hide their head under their body in form of a shell. But at the same time, they expose out 2 of their tentacles, which they serve as antennas, and also release larvae smell imitating the smell of ants. And while ants will be deceived by the smell of the larvae, hoverflies are quickly dragged under the shell ant larvae and calmly eat them there. And when the ant remembers the larvae, hoverflies can no longer be obtained, for their ant larvae caught by armor are no longer hunting. Hoverflies can escape. The hoverfly's tactics are hidden and brutal. A hoverfly larva thrusts its proboscis into the body of an ant larva and sucks everything out what is inside. Each hoverfly eats more than 120 ant larvae, and the ants can't do anything about it. An extremely unusual lizard called an anola that has an incredible recently discovered ability. Now, the lizards have noticed a bird of the species Momid. The lizard that is hunting him tries to escape, but soon a stream is blocking her path, and now there's nowhere to run. Can easily attack, but the lizard immediately jumps straight into the water. Underwater, Momoda can't get it, but nothing. He knows how to wait for the scary thing. A patient predator cannot do the same as a lizard, sit underwater for a long time. But it turns out, how can this be an unusual lizard? When it's immersed, it starts to happen something fantastic, namely bubbles, air enclosed between the scales connect and move towards her head. It turns out to be a real built-in scuba tank, which allows the animal to breathe underwater. This incredible lizard can stay underwater for about 18 minutes, which is quite enough for even the most patient Mammon. Lost interest and flew away. The little lizard stays alive thanks to his superpower. On this channel 7 years ago, we told you showed killer whales that use interesting technique for catching seals. They just swim under the ice floe on which the prey rests, and synchronously a wave of the tail creates a wave that sal and seal, after which the unfortunate every killer whale must leave immediately, eat at least 1 seal per day, and that's why they do this trick again and again. And the laws of physics takes victims by surprise. High intelligence killer whales are maximally used appointment. However, during these 7 years, documentarians managed to film more interesting shots. For example, take a look. This is a seal lying on a huge ice floe. Killer whales will never be able to create a wave big enough to wash away. He's so big for this already a whole tsunami is needed. But what do they need then? Do they look around and think through the plan? Seems that this seal is exactly theirs. He outplayed, completely out of reach, but these insidious ones, although they look cute predators, this situation is completely not satisfied. Killer whales understand what they need. Change tactics. Now they need a wave under the surface of the water. As a result, they manage to break a huge ice floe into small pieces. But this seals, namely seals, are crab eaters, much more dangerous, stronger, and more aggressive than the Wedola seals, but since each a killer whale needs to eat a seal a day, then you don't have to choose. Hunger makes killer whales act. Matriarch, she already knows what to do. About 100 years old, is a huge rarity, a real long liver. Her group consists of not only from her children and grandchildren, but also great-grandchildren. Old killer whales use their knowledge-free time to teach grandchildren and help mothers raise them in practice. This is expressed in the fact that the clan with living grandmother is much more organized and viable than what is created without it. Way the ice flow breaks up and seals becomes more vulnerable. Later patriarch pushes the worked-out scheme. Ice flow into open waters to create a larger wave is needed. For this coordination and precision, the matriarch carries out final calculation followed by another wave in the water. But as I said, the seal microbeetles are much more difficult prey in contrast to the weak seal of the crab-eater. Much more strength to instantly killer whales spend jumping onto the ice flow a lot of energy and decide to switch to other prey, and soon they stumble upon leopard seal. This animal has already so unlucky. Killer whales rightfully occupy top spot on the list of smartest predators. Planets on the snow-capped Denali peaks of Alaska. Eternal winter continues here. Lives and one tiny creature thrives. Frosty slopes adorn many deep glacial cracks. Their depth reaches 30 meters, and they are home for some of the most incredible creatures. There is not a single animal on the planet real iceworm, like a miracle of nature that is impossible. Believe it if you don't see it for yourself. Worms don't just live in ice. They thrive in them only in frosty cold temperatures. Scientists give energy. They don't know for sure yet how do they survive in such conditions, that without it they immediately die. Already at +4 degrees Celsius they begin to melt, and dying at 10 degrees is guaranteed. They die without cold. They cannot live. They eat. They are snow chlamydomonas. This is an algae which lives on the surface of the ice. Assessment by specialists: in each glacier there are up to 5 billion of these mountains hiding. There are too many worms biomass for such an unsuitable living places. Like frost-loving organisms give scientists hope for existence of life on other planets colder than the Earth. And even the funniest thing in our solar system, that just 30 years ago, the existence of these ice worms was considered unscientific from the point of view biology. Tell us about them at that time, you would be called crazy for not has critical thinking. Lake Tangonia male Barton cyclozoma, and he desperately wants to impress the female, performs his dance. Romeo reinforces his position and lowers pheromone that stimulates the female. But there is one problem: this pheromone the gang attracts not only females. Cuckoo catfish immediately swims to the smell pheromone. They know what it means. Cyclozomas are ready to lay eggs, each the size of a sesame seed. Is perfect moment to attack. Catfish eat eggs as much as they can and then mate themselves, leaving behind small bombs. Delayed action: the mother cichlid instinctively collects all caviar, but she doesn't eat it. She just has its super mother's special ability. Cyclozomas grow babies in their mouths, turning it into a reliable mobile home where offspring can grow up in safety. But how do we remember this? Cyclozoma added strangers when the catfish are cuckoos threw their eggs into her clutch, and now unnoticed by her in her mouth mixed offspring hatch, and some grow faster than others. Guess all my time growing someone else's offspring right in your mouth. Other people's children twice their size begin to greedily devour the little ones. Something incredible is happening right in the mouth of the mother of her own children. They even kill and eat foundlings. Wide mouths suspect nothing. Catfish and cuckoos let them swallow your unfortunate steps. Brothers hole in mother's mouth happens. Real massacre. Traitorous cubs. Catfish soon grow out of their nursery. They have little room in the mouth. After, when the catfish jump out, they swim away alone without attracting attention until they are ready to attack just another unsuspecting mother. Few real children with cyclases manages to survive such brotherhood. In the desert expanses can be found extremely weird spider house, amazing sand ball on silk threads. Like this, things are hung low on almost everyone hanging ledge in the vicinity of each of which is centimeters in diameter. Intricate weave of silk thread, sand, and pebbles inside the sphere are small shelter. The creators of this amazing design is safe inside. They only come out at night. The spider leaves its home only to equip it, and they don't have it only the house they use it for. Fishing, each spider stretches out a strand of prey capture from shark to sand on earth is ant trap. As soon as one of them falls into his sticky trap, fate becomes sealed. Spider feels the vibration and starts to lift. The ant is in his lair, and it looks like this. These shots are just fantastic. Documentarians for the first time filmed several years ago. Scientists were delighted with what. The more the ant resists, the same. The news tightens every night. The spider